Thank you for tuning in to Unfiltered Unspoken and Happy New Year. It's 2024. And our first guest of the year is Tim Big Boo Smith. And he gonna bring it to you like all of our other guests bring it to you. Another life experience, another journey to help someone that's going through similar situations. Welcome, Tim. What you want us to call you? Big Boo? Or you want us to call you Tim?
Nah,
Which one?
Tim fine. Tim's fine.
Okay. Okay. I just wanted to double check. So if you could come up and introduce yourself really quick to the audience, and then as you know, Sid is going to kick off the first question.
All right. My name's Tim Smith, also known as Big Boo. That's a Boo's been my nickname forever, but Big Boo was big was added when I went to prison. I grew up in Southern Maryland, Calvert County, and been through a lot in my childhood that affected my adulthood. Me being a father, me being a friend, and led to a lot of drug use and major incarceration.
Well, thank you again for joining us here and, jumping off this new year, cutting in where we needed you. So thank you again. Now, I do, you already kind of gave us an into it. So we always like to start at the beginning. Let us know what your childhood was like, what was like growing up. Like, what were some kind of pivotal moments for you in childhood that helped kind of, shape things and got you to where you got?
Um, the first thing was uh not knowing who my dad was, and I don't um think my mom did it deliberately or the way she did it was to hurt me, but that's where a lot of my anger came from. Um, I grew up till I was 9 years old calling someone else dad, and to find out that he wasn't. Um, and then my father had died, at 17, month and a half before I was born. Started asking a lot of questions, and they you know told me a lot about him, but it was all about kind of negative, except he could sing. But everything was negative, and it was always saying it was foul play. So I grew up with a lot of animosity, a lot of anger towards a lot of people, and I think had I known the truth back then, I think my life kind of would have turned out a little different. I would like to think, you know.
So I know that's challenging growing up as a boy without your dad. Can you tell us when you found out, did the behavioral issues start when you found out your dad wasn't your dad, or did they start before then?
Um, I think I've always been mischievous, but like, and I was always been a curious child, but like at the age 10, hanging around, cousins and friends, tried marijuana, and my attitude, my mom was strict. She was a good mom. What I mean, she taught me right from wrong, but when I got away from her is when I started seeing a different side of life. How can I explain it? The things that she didn't want me to do, you know, is all the things I was doing outside of her presence, and it began to affect me in school. Like I said, I became angry, so I used to get bullied a lot, and I became from getting bullied to becoming a bully. Is how I remember in at the early ages of 11, 12 years old, going to school and just finding something or somebody to have a reason to punch on or to do something to, and that's what gave me a satisfaction at that time.
Now I do see kind of excuse me, like a common occurrence. So way back when, did you have the stature that you had now, or like were you smaller? As
And
I
I've
knew,
always been
yeah,
big,
I see
and
once you get that size on you, like
yeah,
people can't tell you nothing. You flexing all of that at that point. So
well,
I
I've always been big, and it's always been used against me. But my
Mm.
mom, she took up for me on that. She always one of her famous saying, "Well, he eat good at home." We ain't starving over here. So, but I've always been bigger than all my classmates and, just everybody. So it was kind of bittersweet. You know, they use it against you, which you have no control over. But, then it also made me, when I walk in a room, my presence was already felt without even having to say anything a lot of times, just because, my size.
And was it like at a certain point? Was it just like, well, I'm gonna be what they think? I'm just tired of trying to fight it. At that point, did you ever have that thought?
Well, yeah, and I kind of became I kind of started living for everybody else and not myself because how people painted me or what their perspective was, I try to live out that. And it wasn't until I went to prison that, I began to understand, that all the things and the ways that I was doing ain't really who I am. Really I did those things, but I had a lot of masses on, a lot of what's the word? A lot of identity crisis. I struggle with identity crisis. As far as like hanging at my father's mother house, uh, everybody up there, they were not they worked, but they were in the streets. They're more street, and I didn't see that much at my mom's. But, so that's where I always wanted to be at. Every weekend, I wanted to go to my grandmother's, my father's mother house, because there is where, I started to feel a satisfaction that, was something different, the streets and, the fighting, drama, chaos. I became addicted to the chaos. If it wasn't something going on, I made something go on.
Mm. So, were you in and out of jail or
Since I think the first time I got arrested, I was 14. I was for assault. And then 16 was drugs inside of a school. And when I turned 18, I've never, until recently, from the time I turned 18, I've did some type of incarceration all the way up until 2020. Every
so you
year,
had
every year I was either locked up doing a bit or had been arrested for something.
so what was your longest time being
Uh,
locked up?
13 years, 4 months.
And what caused you to land 13 years in the
Attempt murder.
penitentiary?
Attempt murder. Uh,
So at what point, what was realistically, what was your moment of breakthrough? When was it just like, I'm tired of this cycle here?
Um, things just didn't feel right no more. Like I told you when in my story, I joined a prison gang. I'm not gonna say which one, but I joined a prison gang and I rose through the ranks. Because I was smart, smarter than I ever believed I was. And, I shocked myself. And, I was willing to go at any length, you know, whatever, however, I did it. Um, so I rose through the ranks and rising through the ranks, I became a shot caller. And, sending people to do things to other people or me doing things to other people just didn't sit right with me no more. Slowly but surely, I would hesitate. I would find a way to get around it, or and I didn't want to water down, the organization or the gang. So I slowly began to walk away, and just looking in the mirror, man. It's a this song I used to listen to when I was in prison by Jack here called Reflections. And I began to look at myself and I wanted better, but I didn't know how to get better. And I struggled, with mental health issues and, you know, um, a lot of anger, depression, um, anxiety. And there was this doctor, the psychiatrist I seen when I was in prison. And I explained everything to him, and he gave me, I don't remember the medicine, but he said it's a pill to not make you slow, but slow you down just enough so you can begin to make rational decisions. And that was the best decision I ever made was, opening up to him and, him prescribing me that medicine and, my thinking began to be clear. And, slowly but surely I started making better decisions. Um, I started communicating. My biggest problem was I didn't know how to communicate. I didn't know how to express my feelings. I didn't know how to express my emotions. I didn't know how to say um, that hurt my feelings, or because I was taught that that was weak. Men don't cry, men don't have feelings, men don't have emotions. So, whenever someone did something that I didn't like, I resorted to violence. And, those things slowly begin to melt away. And, also, God, man. I've always believed in God, but you know, I believe with my whole heart, he touched my heart and he changed, my heart, softened my heart. And I want to, mention that that was another one of the biggest things that happened, spirituality, you know, beginning to understand who God is and, what is my purpose.
Yeah, and I was going to ask, you went from violent to non-violent. Was that the biggest piece that touched your heart? Was God, or did something else touch your heart in the midst of I'm hurt you, but it didn't feel right to you? Like, what made you have emotions and feelings? Because I always tell people, a lot of us, because I was that, I disconnected from my emotions and feelings. Like, it was something to detach. But when you attach to it, things just seem a lot different. So I don't know if your case was like my case, attaching to those emotions and feelings, which made you think a little bit differently or feel hurting others wasn't what you really wanted.
Well, it was definitely God, but it was me beginning to communicate, me
Hmm.
being able to express myself and to be able to accept that I was different. Accept that, doesn't care. I don't care what John Doe thinks or Billy Bob think, you know, I gotta do what's best for me. I gotta stop because my whole life I was living for somebody else. I wasn't living for me. If someone thought I was capable of doing something, I tried it. And that's just, it's just it became too hard to keep living for somebody else when I wasn't reaping no benefits out of it. And and another thing I began to do was uh look at all the things I've been through that hurt me, and I began to attack those things. Um, like I talk about, being molested by a woman when I was young, and so I didn't want to confront the woman, but I knew I had to do something so I could get past it, through it, over it, under it, however I had to do it. I knew I had to heal from that because all my relationships were suffering because of that. My relationship with women just weren't good. I was a womanizer, player. I just my thing was I just want to conquer women. That's what I just wanted to do, and I knew it was what it was behind it, but I didn't know how to heal from it. So one day, an idea came in my head. I believe I was on lockup, so I wrote the lady a letter, wrote everything out, all my feelings, how it made me feel, and you know, asked a bunch of questions and put it in the envelope, put a stamp on it, and flushed it down the toilet. and then I began to heal from that. And the crazy thing is, I didn't want to confront her, and she ended up doing something to herself. That's what played in the back of my head of why I didn't really want to mail a letter out to her directly or her. It was more about me and not her. Because the damage had already been done. So I was trying to heal for me, if that makes sense.
It does. It definitely does. Now, when you kind of made the decision, to make some changes, was that, in the midst of a sentence or, after you had gotten out?
Nah, it was in the midst of my sentence. I went to prison in 2006. I got sentenced to 38 years. Plus, I had 4 years, 9 months running while with that for a violation. So I went in with 42 years, 9 months. And I went in and I think I caught my first charge in 2009, stabbing and a knife charge. And I just was running my bid up. Before I knew it, I had caught 8 years, for between, possession with intent, uh, distribute narcotics or knives and cell phones and, all that type of stuff, so like my instead of me knocking my sentence down, working my sentence down, I was running it up. I was not only catching street charges, I had lost, probably about 10 years worth of good time. All the good time they gave me, I lost everything. That's why when I end up giving my time back in 2019, I ended up doing 13 years and 4 months on 15 because I didn't have no good time. So like I spent a lot of time on lockup. I spent a lot of time reading, and I think that was looking back, it affected me negatively, and it also affected me in a positive way because nobody knows how it feels to be already locked away, but to be locked in a little cage, coming out an hour a day. Sometimes they beat you out of that. You only get to take showers twice a week. It does something to you after, a year, 2 years on going through that. It does something to you. And it really did something to me, you know.
Mm, wow. I'm gonna jump back because we bounce back and forth, but I'm gonna come back. The lady that molested you, what was the age difference? How were you,
Uh,
and how was she, and how did she coerce you to, I mean, not say nothing or feel, or did it happen one time, or did it happen
it
quite a few
happened a
times?
few times. They probably was probably 11 years older than me. I think I was like 6 or 7. They were like 18, maybe 19. Yeah,
What?
yeah.
And
yeah. It
was
happened a
it a
few times.
was it a relative or someone close to the family?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah,
It was a relative.
yes, ma'am.
And you've never said it. Does your mother know?
Yes, I talked to my mom about it. I wouldn't tell her who or nothing like that because at that point, like I said, it wasn't about who. It was just about getting it
Hmm.
out. It was
Hmm.
about, you know, a lot of we always hear about how women feel when it happens to them, but it's not too often you get to hear from a man, how it affected them. And I'm not trying to make a movement or nothing, but I wanted people to know that this does happen, and it does affect us. You
And what
know,
are some of the ways? I know you said some of the ways, but what
it
are
it,
some of the ways that it like really affected you,
it
like
affected
mentally?
my
I know the womanizer.
yeah with my kids. I got a daughter. I got a daughter. I got four granddaughters now, or three granddaughters now, but like it's just I don't I love women, but I couldn't stand women. You know what I mean? It's like I don't really how to explain it except that it's just as tough mentally. You know, trying to understand why. Because being at the age I was at, you almost think it's like it's you don't know it's wrong. I never had the talk, uh, the sex talk with my mom. I never had that. I never had that with, anybody else. So like I didn't understand, what was really going on until I was a little older. And I was like, damn. And and then I had this view of women, that you know all women gonna hurt you, all women, I felt like every woman that I ever encountered was gonna hurt me or do something to me, so I hurt them first.
Wow. I'm gonna let Sid go. Do you see her now?
Yeah,
Have you seen her
sometimes.
again?
Sometimes, not often, but sometimes.
Now I'm jumping forward myself, but the reason why I previously asked, if those changes came in the midst of you being in your bed or after, to ask, how did that fair with your your brothers in the gang with you, because on the outside, or normally how people think, you once you in, you can't get out type of thing, or they make it tough for you to get out. So how was that trying to transition into doing something different, being on your p's and q's, and did that put you into any danger,
Yeah,
in that regard?
I was eventually stabbed behind it, but it was behind a lie. It wasn't behind the truth. But I don't regret none of my decisions as far as like that, because that being when I said yes to the gang, you know, it a light bulb went off, after a little while. And it was like, because I used to run wild in prison. And one of the guys pulled me one time. He's like, "Man, look, you can't keep doing just whatever. You got to think about everybody else, not just on this location, but through the whole state of Maryland." And like a big light bulb, and I was like, "Damn!" Put my loved ones into the equation of my decision making. You know, if I can do this for people that I've never met, some of them I've never met these guys, but I gotta think about you before I do something that you know, then I could do that for my family. So that was a big moment for me when I realized that, and like I said, that was one of the things that I was like, yeah, okay, I got to start doing things different. You know,
So, do you think a lot of this, with the played a part with the bullying as a child, you being bullied by others, and then that power when you start bullying? Do you feel like it was a power and you had control? Did it make you? I mean, I know for some of us it feels good, like, I'm going through something, but you bully me, I'm gonna bully you. Now people are scared of you. Do you think in situations from being young and then rising up in ranks in the gang, was it power and control? I mean, was that a piece that gave you like that adrenaline to make you
oh
feel
yeah,
good?
yeah, and I struggle with that even till today. Being home, not being in control, not being able to, you do this, you do that, you do this, and I know it's gonna be done. Or I still struggle with that, and I talk to my therapist about it. Um, I'm still trying to cope with just being regular. You know, it's not as hard as it used to be when I first came home, but it's still trying at moments. When you know my what I say ain't the final say. You know, or you know, just having to do it somebody else's way. Sometimes it's just a struggle. Um, I used to feel like I was better off in prison than I was out here because of, you know, the lack of respect, you know, and just all the responsibilities that, you know, that I have to take on now that, I just neglected at first. Um, it's trying, and it's a humbling experience, to go from where I was in there to coming out here and trying to, fit back in. When I left, it wasn't no smartphones and none of that. Wasn't no texting. So I came back out to a whole new world.
Understood. Um, so when you talk about, being happy that you opened up, with the counselor you had in prison, I guess what prompted you to feel comfortable enough, with it had been so difficult before. I guess what about his approach made you comfortable to do so?
Um, the spirit of God is just being honest. Every now and again, the spirit hits you, and it just leaves you. And I believe that was one of those moments that God took the wheel. And he knew what I needed, and that's the best way I can explain that. Because I didn't go in his office for that, but that's how the conversation stirred, and and he was a spiritual man, and like I said, God just took over.
So so you say you're still going to therapy now, which is awesome because we like in the black community, we crazy, everything wrong with us when we go
Right.
see a therapist, and it's true, right? So just to be transparent with the audience, how long have you been going through therapy? How has therapy helped you? And um you're coping a lot of the struggle. What are you still struggling with going through therapy?
Yeah, I still go. I've been going since 2020, since I came home. And it's it's challenging because sometimes you're not looking for a clinical answer. You know, sometimes you're just looking for somebody to listen to you, not necessarily to open up the clinical book and tell you what you're suffering from and all this and that. And I got a good therapist, man. She's really whether I'm right or wrong, she keeps it 100 with me. And I think that's what's uh important to me is just keep it 100 with me. I have had to change a couple therapists before since I've been home, and you know, and I think it's just someone that can not necessarily relate, but kind of like look at the different perspective that I'm coming from, or from my perspective, and help steer me into a positive journey. Um, I struggled. Um, I don't want. I struggled with drugs when I first came home more than now, because I used to when some things happened when I first came home, and it led me back to drug use, and I started smoking PCP and using cocaine again, and I really lost touch with myself, and it had got bad. It got so bad I had a car accident, and mangled the van I was in, and it was only the grace of God that I survived. And so I'm just learning, trying to take, every day, one day at a time to stay sober. I brought New Year's in this year sober, um, because I want this to be a different year. Um, Therapy is good, but it's also, I guess, bittersweet, man, because when you get to peeling back all the layers, and to see and to know all the things I've done and all of the lives and the families I've hurt, um, it does something to me. And that's one of the biggest things I struggle with is, outside of drugs, is, you know, um, being remorseful for a lot of the things I've done.
Absolutely. Um, what else was, or what I guess maybe are you still might be struggling with, as far as getting acclimated, from being imprisoned and then being, out? Or are there still things that are still, about things you ain't crossed yet, or issues you still having, things getting used to? Is there anything on that list?
Nah, I don't like being in stores. I don't like being in, crowded areas. Um, um, I'm just I a lot of the things I done got over, and but I had a lot of good people in my corner too. Um, my problem is I've always been a loyal dummy, and loyal to the wrong people. When you can see it written in black and white that they ain't for you, but you still continue to give them your time, your energy, and then they burn you, and you like, yeah, I knew that was gonna happen. And my fiance now, she always says, like, I'll give you an example. I took a guy something, a bunch of cars or whatever, the RC cars. The guys are in the RC cars. Well, I have got a bunch of them, so I told him he could, buy them from me. So I took him over there, and she was like, "He ain't give you the money yet." I'm like, "Nah, he'll give it to me." So I went over the other day to get the money. He still ain't give it to me. She was like, "Why do you keep doing the same thing, expecting different results? You know how things gonna go, but yet you keep doing it." And I don't really have no answer to that. Um, I want this year to be different. That's why, like I said, we brought this year in sober, and wasn't worried about partying. Me and my and my daughter was taking pictures at 12 o'clock. So I'm just, I don't know. I gotta be true. I try to stay true to myself, and sometimes it's hard because I want to not feel like people are playing with me. I want to not feel like a victim. I don't want to. I don't like feeling like you think because I've changed, I won't do that to you. But that's something else I struggle with, is trying not to uh go back to that person that I used to be, because it's always still there. But it's just, my mindset is different. But sometimes, I struggle with that, especially when, uh it's unprovoked. I have a lot of incidents, um with just, strangers, or just call you out your name, racial slurs for no reason. And, by the grace of God, man, I haven't responded. And,
Good. And you
some
don't respond to them.
and sometimes it shocks myself. I shock myself sometimes, and a lot, and that's why I love my mom, because I can call my mom and be like, "Yeah, look, this just happened," I'm proud of myself, and she'd be like, I'm proud of you too. She's my biggest supporter. Her, my sister, my girl, but my mom never ever left my side. You know, spent a lot of money to help me get home, a lot of her energy, a lot of her time, and so I'm forever indebted to my mom.
And you owe it to her too. You
Yeah.
owe it. And she suckers a lot of people turn when folks go to jail. And whoever that guy is, I hope he pays you, and I hope he looks at this. You dead wrong. Pay Big Boo his money. Um, but I want to ask for the drug addiction. I guess this is an on and off thing. How were you when you first started drug, and what were the drugs of choice that you chose, and what are some of the actions behind taking drugs?
All right. I was 10 when I tried marijuana. I was 15 when I tried PCP, cocaine, acid, mushrooms. Um, PCP and cocaine, marijuana became my drug of choice. PCP made me feel powerful, and I don't know what it is about cocaine that made me. I mean, I know it's the high, but I'm not. I haven't really found out the the what am I chasing? You know what I mean? I haven't really figured that one out yet. Um, and in prison, I did heroin for 2 years in prison, and I hid that because it was zero tolerance on getting high. Especially where I sit at, it was zero tolerance, and I hid that, and from that, and I can't say no names, but they'll know who I'm talking about. That's when I first felt real love from a man. Um, I was on lockup and I was getting high, and my cell buddy went. He came off lockup before I did. He went and told. Just so happened, one of the it was a guy in the jail that was above me, and he went and said something to him. So when I come off a lockup, unbeknown to me, you know, they know, but I don't know this. So they pulled me up, asked me about it. And when they first asked me, I lied. I was like, nah, I don't know. I don't get high. So I broke down and told him, yeah. And his question, him and another good buddy of mine, was, what can we do for you so you can beat this and get past it? That was it. That was all. And I've never had that before. Like I said, it's a lot of different incidents that happen that I look back and I'm like, wow, you know, I can point to a lot of different things that, made me want to change and want to be different and, not spend the rest of my life in prison. And that's one of them. They showed me love, genuine love, you know, wasn't uh get out my face or it was nothing negative. It was just pure, genuine care for a friend that was going through something. They wanted to know what could they do to help me get through it. And they asked a lot of questions. Why? What is it that triggers it? Or what do I need to get out the cell? Do I need to get out the building I was in? You know, start hanging around these type of people. Let's work out more. I mean, it was beautiful, and I just talked to him probably about a month ago, and I broke down thanking him for that because stuff like that means a lot to me. It's not too often, you know, um, you find good people like that, especially in prison. You know, that really meant a lot to me, man. So, like I said, that's another pivotal moment in my incarceration. That because shortly after that, I stopped getting high. messing with the heroin, and so yep.
That's great. That's wonderful. Now, when you're pretty much upon your release, um, what was the game plan at that point, or was there any? What was your mind frame like when it was time to get out? I know you said you were teeter tottering on whether being in or out was the better option, but with that clarity at that point, what was your mind like knowing you're about to get out?
Um, well, I had everything set up. My mom had got me a car. They had put tag her and my stepdad. They put I don't like calling him stepdad. That's my father, man. He's been a great man in my life. I just didn't understand men in order to, so I like to give him a shout out, but that's my father. But they put together, got me a nice car, had it tagged up and everything. I was supposed to get a job with my brother. Everything was lined up. Um, but I ain't had no plan B. Only thing that worked when I came home was the car. None of all the job stuff fell through. And but I made a way. I ended up going to work for uh this little bar, and they have parties at on the weekend. So I ended up becoming the head security Friday night, Saturday night, making $60 a night. So it was $120 a weekend. I was doing that. Then I ended up getting a job for Goody Trash Company, and so I was doing Goody Trash Company Monday through Friday, and then I was doing the security Friday night, Saturday night, and then I ended up getting another job with my brother doing laboring for a brick. He a bricklayer on the weekends. So at one time when I first came home, I had three jobs: Monday through Friday doing truck. Saturday and Friday and Saturday night, I was doing security, and then Saturday and Sunday during the day, I was laboring for bricklayers, and you know, end up going to a car dealer, getting a car, even though I had to take it back. But those things I look back on is you know, the fight. I didn't have a plan B, but I kept fighting and I kept pushing. I didn't give up. I didn't go back to the streets. I didn't go back to, selling drugs and all that. I didn't do that. I didn't go back to robbing or none of that. I just kept pushing. And it was hard. It was hard. I can't count how many times I done ran out of gas when I first came home, because, you know, especially for me, I don't know. I had my mom, my father who looked out, my brother, but it wasn't a whole bunch. I ain't had no friends sitting out there holding no cash for me. I didn't have that. So everything that I had coming in, was everything, and so I was blessed to be able to come home to the situation I came home to because it made me appreciate it. And I've had some striving times where you keep going for job interviews, and they want to keep talking about your past and keep talking about your past and keep talking about your past. And but you know, now I work for the government, so it can be done, and it's a lot of people that know me, throughout the prison system and throughout Southern Maryland. If I can do it, is nobody else has an excuse. You know, yep, I work for the Calvert County government, and I'm waiting on a full time position right now. It's part time, but I'm in the door. They compliment me all the time, and they're fighting for me for a full time position, just waiting for something to come open. So God has definitely been good, man. I just ain't been good to myself all the time.
But now you get to be good to yourself and put yourself first.
Yeah,
I
that's
wanted
why I said this year I'm gonna make this year different, and that's why I brought this year in. different than I previously have, inebriated and high, and discombobulated. And I said, not this time, not this year. This year gonna be
Hmm.
different. So in order for this year to be different, I wanted to start it off right. That's why I said I brought it in sober, no drinking, no nothing. Just chilling with my family, my loved ones.
And it
So
felt good too, didn't it?
real good, real good. Um, I'm on a journey. Not only am I on a journey to heal, I'm on a journey because I want to help others heal too. You know,
That's
um, it it's it's power in truth, but in order to get it out there, you got to tell your story. You know, some people probably gonna feel how they feel about some of the things I said and whatnot, but this is my journey, and in order for me to be who I need to be and who God wants needs me to be, then you know, um, I can't worry about what other people think. I did that too much growing up, worrying about what people think or how people viewed me. You know, so
hmm. Who I love your testimony, and this is what the platform is about. So it's a blessing. I advocate for this all the time. So this is a blessing to have your testimony and the truth and your power to hopefully help someone else start the journey to healing. I wanted to ask really quick, what is your state? Like, how do you feel now mentally, emotionally? Just how do you feel in a nutshell?
um, most days I feel good, but I'm still struggling with like depression, um, anxiety, and like I got PTSD. And it a lot. Sometimes it bothers me. Sometimes it gets the best of me. So me and my psychiatrist are she's tweaking my medications and whatnot. The most important thing I can do is be keep being real with myself, because if I don't be real with myself, then I can't help nobody else. And for two is keep it real with my therapist and my psychiatrist, because if I lie to them, they only helping to lie. So I just got to continue to, no matter how bad it may be, keep being real with them, because at the end of the day, I'm trying to. I know I ain't gonna never be have a perfect life, but I'm trying to have a more clear mind to where I'm not having these episodes, these anxiety attacks and panic attacks and stuff like that. You know, like I said, I don't get violent, but I get angry, and sometimes I don't always say the right thing when I'm angry. So I'm trying to reel myself in, and and get the medication thing worked out.
That's wonderful. And I want to this is gonna seem random, but it was just something you said kind of earlier on from when Demetria asked. It kind of goes into closing this out. But I know you said that you still do see the woman that abused you when you were younger or molested you when you were younger. Um what I assume that, probably rustled something up in you maybe, if you're seeing her. But I assume that the kind of healing mechanisms that you've been taught or that you are utilizing in other things, you probably use for that nature as well. So how are you able to kind of be seeing her at random and be okay? And how what type of I guess kind of mental training are you doing here, for anybody that does have to see their victimizers quite often, or their family members that they can't really get away from? How do you suggest to roll past that?
Well, I haven't seen them probably like 3, 4 months now, but like I've never been good at holding a grudge. If I'm mad at you and I hold it, I'm gonna do something to you. So I let it go. And I wish I could do that with everything in my life, but that's one of the things I've let go. I can see them, give them a hug, and keep moving. You know what I mean? And it doesn't it doesn't affect me like it used to. And I think that's just in part of the letter I wrote and the way I did it. It was me, um my way of just letting it go. Like I said, I don't know exactly remember how it came to me to do that, but I'm pretty sure God, directed me in that. And it was just I'm not good. Like I said, I'm not good at holding grudges. I've never been good at it. If it's just one of them things, and I'm glad it's like that. You know what I mean? Um, because I got a beautiful relationship with my daughter and my grandkids and stuff like that. I would just hate for that to affect you know my kids any longer because I was gone for so long out their life. You know,
Did she ever apologize to you, or she just act like it never ever happened? I know
no,
you've let it go, but
yeah,
I'm just
she ain't
saying,
never say nothing.
wow.
I mean, it is what it is, but like, that's just one of those things. Like, you know, um, I'll be more worried about, somebody putting too much jelly on my bread, peanut butter and jelly now versus that. That's how much I've let it go. Because it tormented me, and I've hurt a lot of women behind what I've been through. It's a lot of women mad at me and don't talk. My ex-wife don't talk to me. We
Have
got,
you apologized to her?
of course.
Okay.
When I was in prison, we both, you know, had to sit down, air both our dirty laundry. We neither one of us was perfect in a relationship. We was both young, but it's just one of those things that she just you know some people heal in their own time through their own process. But as far as that, I did my part. I apologize and I sincerely meant it. Um, but yeah, she don't respond to me or talk to me. But like I said, all my kids are grown anyway. But that's definitely uh um I can say, at least one of the relationships I can say, that suffered the most was, my ex-wife, because behind that, what a lot of other women were just, women I encountered throughout my life, being in the streets and stuff. But
I will say,
Yes.
yeah, I'm still in my moment of healing. So, people gonna know they did me wrong. That's just where I'm at with it. So I'm I'm proud of you for that, because I it's not something you know what I mean. She gonna see it every time she see me. That's just what it would be. But
see, I'm
you
not good with confrontation though. See, like
yeah.
when things happen, I may not say nothing to you today. I'll go and think it out. Because if
Mm-hmm.
I don't do that and I say something and then we get in I'm not good with confrontation,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not gonna let
Yeah.
nobody hurt me, or I'm not gonna let nobody act like they're gonna hurt me or play like they're
Mm-hmm.
gonna hurt me. So I'm real meticulous of how I encounter, anything. If I had things happen to me and they be like, "You ain't gonna say nothing," I'm like, "For what?"
Yep. And
Like,
I'm
for
where you
what?
are at. I'm like, I got too much to lose to be arguing
For
with you.
what?
Like,
Yeah,
I'll say something off my mind, and then I'll be like, you know what? It ain't even worth it. Like,
nah, because
you're not worth it.
at the end of the day, people are accountable for themselves. I
Yeah.
can't be accountable for you. I can be accountable for children that I'm bringing up, my grandkids and things like that. I can be accountable for them, but I can't be accountable for a grown person. So
Mhm.
for a person to do something to me, knowing what you did, it's nothing for us to discuss.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, it's just like even with my mom, me and my mom don't always see eye to eye. So sometimes I got to get off the phone or she got to get off the phone. And then when we call each other back or talk again, we don't even bring it up.
Mhm.
We don't even bring it up because it can't
Mhm.
nothing good ain't nothing good gonna come out of it. We both
Mhm.
understand, you see it one way, I see it another way. So we just move on from it. And that's
Mhm.
just, how some certain things in life has taught me that some things uh doesn't deserve my energy. They say it's a saying, they say if you entertain a bunch of clowns, you become part of the circus.
Mhm.
So, I'm not trying to do that.
Yeah. Well, we are almost at time, and I have one final thing. What advice can you give the audience so that they can that for your healing journey that may
Okay.
help them start their journey to healing that has helped you?
All right, it's a few things. The first thing is I created this program called PATH. It's an acronym for Prevention, Altering Thinking, and Home. And one of the first modules that I created for the program is a question. It says, "Who am I?" Ain't talking about, your nationality or nothing like that. Who are you at the core? What your character? What makes you you? And once I understood who I was, then I was able to navigate and start making better choices and things like that and accepting who I am, being real with myself of who I am and understanding that it's okay to be different.
Mhm.
It's okay to be different. Um Drugs are for fools, man. If you're struggling with drugs or somebody struggling with drugs, man, seek help. Talk about your childhood trauma. Because 99% of the time, that's where a lot of the drug use come from because it's something that you're trying to numb from your past, and you're numbing it instead of healing it. I want to heal my wounds instead of numbing it because when you numb them, they're still there. If you heal them, it become a smooth surface. It may be a little bump here and there, but you know, trust the process. And that's, another thing big on me. I gotta continue to trust the process.
Mhm.
You know.
Love it. I love it. Definitely after this, we're not going to chat in because we don't have time. But I'm gearing up to some stuff, and I would love because we're aligned on the same align with the work that we're doing. I would definitely love to do some work with you and bring you into some of the workshops that I'm about to gear up. So
Yes.
definitely,
Okay.
yeah. And we'll chat off note about that. But yeah, that I would
Okay.
love. Yeah.
Okay. I'm all for it, man. Like I said, I'm just trying to be a better person, not only for myself, but for all that's watching. Because there's more people watching us than you think. People are paying attention. You know, and I realize that every day. When I'm at work and people saying this and saying that, and I ain't know he's seen that. But people are paying attention. So, I want to be a better example for my kids and my grandkids. And for the people the young people in the community.
Absolutely. Now, we're at the very end here. We like to do what we call shameless plugs. So, you see your banner and information scrolling across the bottom. You just give the viewers a little bit of how they can contact you, what kind of services they could hit you up for, or anything that they can hit you up for, anything you want to draw traffic to. You have the floor.
All right. My Facebook is Tim Smith, Then I got another one, Timothy Smith. And then I got another one, Rosterman Smith. TikTok Tim Smith 0886. Um, you can hit me and if you want to just talk, man, talk, or I can point you in the right direction on getting a job. If you're out Southern Maryland, I got a lot of connections on jobs and stuff like that. Anything that you may need, trying to help you through your journey, and I'm here, man. I get if it's just more no more than listening to you. I'm a great listener, you know. But I've been through a lot, so I got a lot of information, man, and I got a lot of experience in life. So if you give me a chance, I promise you, I can tell you something that you or stop you from going through something, or help you to stop going through something. I know I can.
Awesome. You had a powerful testimony, Tim. We want to thank you so much because you actually reached out to our platform to come in. So it is from watching BJ, whom
Yeah,
you were
yeah.
incarcerated with. So ooh, I just got chills. Woo, God is in the room. Let me tell you. So it's a testimony within a testimony, which means that the Unfiltered Unspoken platform is doing what it's supposed to do, and that's touching lives and um, getting folks to come out and share their testimony so that they can help others start the journey to healing. So we want to thank you for being a guest. Thank you for coming on last minute. Um,
Hmm.
we just jumped you on real quick, so we want to thank you and happy new year's and God bless you and your family as well, and as you go through this journey, may God guide you through everything that you need to go through. um, and I just want folks to know that you can change. Look at Big Boo Tim. He changed. He is a testimony within a testimony that has been through all streams of traumas in his life, and look at him now. He's fought the drug, he's beat the drug addiction, he's beating the anger, he's getting professional help, he's beating the childhood traumas, being bullied. You even heard him, he's forgiven his molester. So that is a very powerful testimony, and God bless you, Tim.
Thank you. I
My
want to
pleasure.
thank y'all for what y'all do, man, because this is another part of healing, man. Talking about it. So I like thank y'all. Happy New Year's, happy holidays to you and your family, and man, God bless, man.
Thank you. So
Thank
we want to
you.
thank you for Yes, thank you, Tim. We
Yes,
want to
man.
thank you for tuning in to Unfiltered Unspoken Podcast, where we're going to continue to share life experiences. We're going to continue to share those testimonies in hopes that someone will start the journey to healing. We are true survivors, and we are sharing our experiences to help you. Happy New Year's! This is our first kickoff season 3, episode 1, and we want to thank Tim again. And as we continue this journey, yeah, and let us know how this exit video is too, because I think it's on and popping. Y'all have a blessed day.